Well, I think really a great deal of it has to do with the chance of where and when I was born. Um, Born into a very, um, very bland, gray, colorless, homogenized country called Canada. But during my lifetime, during my formative years, it kind of blossomed into this multicultural, um, just incredible place that it is today. And that transformation happened kind of in my lifetime um, by these very visionary, forward-thinking leaders of that time. And I think everyone who, so I grew up, in a very kind of Western way with church choirs and piano, but in my teenage years, suddenly there's this explosion of multiculturalism and just all these artists from all over the world coming and intermingling and working together, and all these different ways of looking at music and different ways of expressing, and all those things were just incredibly exciting to me, and they just happened to happen at the moment when kind of my musical curiosity was really blooming. I started working in a time in Canada, in Toronto, when there was very much a government support for the arts, and art film was a very much a viable, supported art form in Canada at that time, and there were filmmakers like David Cronenberg and Adam McGoyan, who I ended up meeting at college, working on theater together. We ended up working on our first films together. So Adam and I, and of course Adam, Armenian extraction, born in Egypt, and had an interest in early music like I did, and interest in Middle Eastern music. So there really, frankly, was no complication in kind of bringing that world in. And we were working with those kinds of musics in theater. We had no reason not to use them in film. So it was kind of a very fortunate situation in that it just kind of all meshed with the things that I was interested in and excited about, and I was able to use them in that art.
I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about whether indie movies have offered you different opportunities and maybe more freedom than conventional commercial cinema.
Definitely independent films, and there's pros and cons of both worlds, but clearly for my sensibility, and certainly at the beginning of my career, independent film was a fabulous kind of playground to work in, and certainly you have people that are not interested in following what came before. They're interested in pushing up against borders and crossing into new territory and mixing things that maybe haven't been mixed before. And all those things are things that interest me in music. So it meshed well. I think as I've matured as a composer, I've been able to do work in both worlds, and my early classical background and my, all those kind of skills that of course I have on that side of my brain are also able to be used in more conventional filmmaking. But yeah, definitely independent film has been, for me, the world that I've really been able to blossom in.